Oh, I just saw something. This stuff needs to be repainted because if that breaks, I mean, I don't know how far that starts peeling back. Welcome to Chicago Auto Pros. We have a brand new 2024 Darkhorse Mustang, and there are some serious issues going on with this car. I looked it over last night, so it was dropped off yesterday, and we're gonna start the work on this morning. We're just doing window tint on this car, which is good because if we were doing our normal detailing and paint protection film on this, we wouldn't be able to do it because there's some serious issues that I found. Let's just get right into it, and I'm gonna start you off. This car is dirty. We haven't touched it at all. It has a 114 or 144, one of those. It has very low miles, just over 100 miles, and, ooh, there's another Mustang. Sorry for that distraction. What I was gonna say is, we look at cars way differently than a lot of people. So we're gonna be looking at the fitment, the finish, all the surfaces, and everything about this car. There's lots of videos out there on the naturally aspirated V8, how it drives, everything like that. We're looking at all the surfaces, diving right into it. The first thing that I saw with this car is because we do an inspection on it, we want to make sure if there's any pre-existing damage that we point that out to the customer so we don't get blamed for it. So as I was looking, I'm looking at this corner, and this corner here is missing paint. And this was the start of something that really is disturbing. The car has been driven, so when I look at it, I look for any manufacturer defects with the paint, meaning dust nibs, uneven texture or anything like that. I look at the gaps, the fitment, how everything fits together, whether it matches on each side. And I started looking back here. And what I found is these little boogers. I'm calling them boogers. These are little paint chips here. And so if I try to pick at these or remove these, I'm afraid of how much paint is actually gonna come off. And then I just wanted to check all of them. So I came back to the driver's side, and here, there's an actual piece of paint that is falling off the car. I don't know why this is chipping. I kind of looked at the fitment between the quarter panel and the bumper. It is a very, very tight fitment. I don't know if that movement there is starting to chip away at that corner, but this piece of paint here is going to fall off. And then, last wheel well. On the edge of the fender is a big air bubble. Now it hasn't popped, but you can see it, like I can, and I want to be careful, I don't want to break it, but you can push on it and it is an actual air bubble in the paint that will start peeling. That had me very concerned right away. You know, if this was my vehicle, I'm going to show this to the customer. We're obligated to show this to the customer now, and he'll make the decision on what he wants to do. But honestly, I mean, this stuff needs to be repainted because if that breaks, I mean, I don't know how far that starts peeling back. What's scary is, why is it doing that? You know, usually when you have paint breaking off or bubbles like that, the surface wasn't prepped properly. And I know this is right on the edges, but it makes me wonder, how far does this go? So if this actually breaks, and it will eventually, it leaves a piece of bare metal there for oxidation and corrosion to happen. And once that happens, it's done for. I wanted to get the bad news out right away. This is a cool looking car. I know it's kind of starting on a bad note, but let's look at the rest of the car, because if you're thinking about getting this car, I want to show you the things that you should be looking out for and maybe give you a different perspective, because again, we look at cars way differently than most people, and most people might not even care about some of this stuff, but let's go over the rest of the car. Now, one of the first things looking at this is it has some vinyl decals on the hood of the car, which look cool. You have the Mustang Darkhorse text right on this piece of vinyl here. While this looks good, vinyl usually only will last about 4 to 5 years. So if you want to extend the life of this vinyl, you will want to either put a coating on it. You could take it up, put the PPF down, and then put the vinyl decals on top of the PPF if you didn't want that airline there. Either way, just so you know, vinyl decals, they're plastic. They're not gonna last long. They're very susceptible to the sun. So if you plan on parking this outside a lot, just know that these vinyl graphics are probably not gonna last very long. This paint is a blue, it's called Blue Ember. Very, kind of a bright blue. I like it a lot. It looks very, very nice. On the front end here, you got a lot of different materials. So you have the painted surface, you have this inlet on the grille, which is a smooth plastic painted piece. Now, rock chips hitting the car, of course, they're gonna do some damage to the front, so I always recommend paint protection film if you're looking to keep this car looking new for as long as possible. So we have those two pieces, and then you have the gloss black here, which any of this gloss black is very sensitive, so it does scratch very easy. It's black, so it's really easy to see all the scratches. So highly recommend covering this all up. Pretty complex front bumper though, for installation wise. You can see this car has been driven. It's got some bugs on there, everything else. You got a couple indents right here on the front bumper. I'm guessing they put those indents so you know where to drill the front plate, which I don't recommend doing either. I don't know why they do that. I wish they wouldn't have done that. While I'm looking at everything, I'm looking for symmetry with the gaps, the fitment and everything. So I do notice on this side, we have a little bit of a gap in between the headlights, and then I can actually see the clips down in the bumper and everything. And what I like to do is I take a note of that, I look at it, I can actually see inside of there, and I'm gonna come to the other side and just take a look and see if it's the same or if it's any different. No, this one is much tighter, much better fitment over here. So big gap over there. And I worry about like water getting in there and what that does to the actual vehicle. Moving on to some of the paint. Oh, by the way, it doesn't cost you anything to hit that thumbs up button and to subscribe to our channel. It's free. You can do it, and we got a lot of other cool videos. There's some EVs that we kind of go and pick apart if you want to go see those videos. Like the video, subscribe to us, because we got some good stuff. On the paint, there is a very small dust nib, and I know that we're only on the front end here, but this is very small. It might be hard to get on camera, but I want to show you what a dust nib looks like. Even though you're painting a car, you got these super clean rooms, some dust can still fall on the surface of the car, and once that paint goes over it, that dust kind of gets stuck in between that clear coat and the surface there. So you see this, what we call a dust nib. Very small, very minor. Coming to the wheels, looks like an 18-inch wheel. I'm just guessing here. 19-inch wheel. Looks very nice. I like these wheels. Actually, these are gonna be easy to maintain, easy to clean. You know, the gloss black wheels tend to scratch very easily, and they look like crap after just a few washes. The Darkhorse emblem, which I like a lot. It looks really cool. We will be taking a look on the inside of the car too, so stick around. All right, the side mirror here is not painted. It is again this plastic, the satin plastic that we see on the front grille piece here. So that is that. And then you got the hard plastic on the side here too. Textured hard plastic. I like it when they do this on the side mirrors. It does take a lot of the wear and tear from the road a lot better. We're gonna take a look at everything, every surface on this car, including the glass, all this trim piece down here. Fitment looks good. Coming to the side of the door, we have all the plastic. Any rubber, any plastic is gonna be more sensitive to weather, the sun and everything. So those are usually the first pieces of the car. They're gonna start to show their age. So we like to do a ceramic coating on all these rubber pieces and all the trim pieces. But everything looks really good. Fitment looks really good, looks really great. Ooh, ooh. There are some scratches on the window here. So I don't know if this was there, if it's something that happened after the customer got it. Probably not a manufacturer defect. Let me grab a towel and wipe it off for you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4 deep scratches right in the glass there. I'm thinking something happened over here because right below it, I see a dent. Again, this is, to be fair to the manufacturer, this is not a manufacturer issue that could have happened. I mean, it could have happened anywhere. So it's funny that a lot of people think that their cars are going to be perfect. when they get delivered. Sometimes they don't think about it. After they get manufactured, they may go sit out in the parking lot at the manufacturer for several days until they get picked up by a transport company. Transport company, they're humans. They got to get in the car, they drive it up onto the lift. Stuff can happen. We've seen it all the time. It could have happened anywhere between that manufacturing process and it being delivered to the customer. And this has, you know, 100 something miles on it already, so the car's been driven a little bit. Could have happened in the customer's garage. I don't know, but there's a dent. This is also exactly why we do these type of inspections on the car before we even start on it. So we actually have a GoPro and then we have a 360 camera, and we camera the whole car, because I can't tell you how many times this has happened where we get a car in like this and then they, you know, usually when cars are dropped off here, they're not looking at them, they're dirty, they're coming to get detailed, but after we do our work, they're looking at the cars and they're inspecting the car, they're examining the car, and then they find stuff like this and they're like, that wasn't there when I dropped it off. And we just like, well, we have it on camera, it was there. So we're just trying to save our ass with a lot of this stuff because it just happens all the time. You know, I'm sure the customer doesn't know about these scratches. I'm sure the customer doesn't know about this dent. I'm sure he doesn't know about all the wheel wells and the paint chipping off of there. We're definitely gonna let him know, one, because we want to cover our ass, but you know, those I think is a much bigger issue, the paint chipping in the wheel wells. Got a couple chips already on the rocker panels here, so this rocker panel sticks out a little bit with that wheel being up in front. That is going to kick rocks up. This is going to be a place on the car where it's going to get a lot of rock chips. All right, looking at the door. Usually I like to look at the door on a side angle, so this will help me see any dents and it'll help me see any type of dust nibs if anything is on the paint there. I told you we're crazy. We look at cars way differently than most people. It's kind of like a disease, you know, like once you have it, like it's hard to look at normal cars anymore without pointing out everything that's wrong with them. All right, so we have this piece. I do like that it's a hard plastic piece. It's gonna take the weather in a little bit more. If this was painted, I'd definitely recommend some sort of film on it. But when you're getting in and out of this car, you're gonna have to deal with some scuffs. So this is probably already somebody getting out with their shoe and scuffing that. When you get out of the car, just lift your foot. It's not that hard. Don't kick the door. Don't rub it against the car. Oh, I just saw something. So I do not know if we're gonna be able to get this on camera. Looking at it from this angle, this has been sanded. Like you can actually see the sanding marks. What this tells me is that this may have been repaired, because this is a weird dent. It kind of looks like it was tried to be fixed, but there's somebody wet sanded this. You're not gonna see this outside in the sun with these LED lights and everything. They're very dramatic, like you could see everything under these lights. So that tells me that this either happened at the dealership or at the manufacturer. Go back to these dust nibs here. So 2 dust nibs right in a row here. Again, smaller. Oh, and there's more. Okay, now we gotta go get the paint gauge. So I'm seeing more sanding marks right here. So there's more sanding marks. I believe this is probably just sanding marks from a dust nib or something, but I'm gonna get the paint gauge. I wanna measure that because that's weird. You shouldn't see that much sanding marks on a vehicle like that. So this is a paint thickness gauge, and this reads the paint, all of the surfaces, so clear coat paint, primer, all the way down to the metal. And this will tell me an indication of whether it's repainted, because most OEM paints are going to be between 3 and 5 mils. Most of the repaints that we see are 8, 9, 10 mils, you know, so they get really thick. So this will tell me where we're at. All right. Steel panel, we're at 4 mils. So this is the original paint. It wasn't repainted, which is good. So let's measure the part that is sanded. There it is. You can see quite a bit lower. So, you know, it looks like most of the door is 4 mils, 4.5 mils, 4.2, 4.16, 4.3. So you can see in that sanding spot, we're about 1 mil short. So they sanded, they polished, they did something there, whether it was a dust nib, I'm not sure, we don't know. But I know that spot right there was sanded and polished. And this is where, as detailers, we have to be careful. We have to investigate, because if this customer comes and asks us to polish the car, like a spot like this, if we're doing the same type of polishing over here, and this is super thin, we have a chance of going through that clear coat. There's only so much clear coat on there, and somebody's already sanded that. So we have to be investigators and look at this type of stuff, because I don't want to get blamed for it if we actually go through that. Let's take a look at where we're at on this dent too. Yeah, look at 3.16, 3.8. So quite a bit thinner as your other spots in here. So 4.6, 4.8, 4.28, yeah, so that was sanded there, 3.6, yeah. So it's quite a bit thinner there. And you can see nice fitment on the start of this rocker panel into, looks like it appeared just to be pushed in a little bit here. Let's go take a look at the other side. Oh, that looks right on. Just something weird over there. That one looks fine. Looking at the windows, because we are going to be doing window tint, there's some, what appears to be some lines in there. It looks like a plastic just rubbing off on the glass. I don't think that's damaged. I think we can polish that, but it looks to be on the inside. So you'll see this on both sides. Going to the back, to the rear of the vehicle, we got our spoiler on the trunk, which is a 2-piece spoiler, which is really cool. I like it. So this is the same material on the front grille and the side mirrors. So some contrast there. Really like it. Another Darkhorse badge just in the back. I love that it just doesn't say Mustang. Dual exhaust camera sensors on the back here in the hard plastic. So again, hard plastic here. Back looks good. I'm looking at the gaps. Okay, I'm looking at this light sitting on top of the bumper. We have some of the foam, 3 foam things that sits right on top of the bumper. I'm just gonna look at the other side. Yep, very similar fitment there with that. What I worry about that is like the back here is the part where it gets the most dirt. It's got this centrifugal force or whatever you call it that kind of puts stuff back into here. And that gap there is just inviting dirt, salt, everything else back into the vehicle, the frames and everything else. So I don't like that there. I would love some sort of seal, and there may be a seal on the inside there. I don't know, I just can't see it. The paint looks actually really good. I haven't seen anything as far as like scratches or swirls. It looks really good. Besides the paint chipping in these spots in the wheel wells, I mean, everything else looks fantastic. But that sucks. That just sucks. I mean, this is a metal piece. This is a steel piece, and it is chipped right there. That is gonna fall off, and you're gonna have bare metal there. Moving on, wheel looks good. All these look really good. You got a little bit of a piece sticking out here, which is the rubber or a hard plastic again, almost like a deflector for some of the rocks, but I don't even know what you would be deflecting there, because the rocks are gonna hit here. Don't know why that is there. Maybe somebody else can tell me why this is in front of the wheel when it should probably be in back of the wheel. Glass looks good over here. Rubber seals and gaskets all look nice and tight. Everything fits well. Just looking at the windows, just because we're doing window tint. Warning, this vehicle is trackable by law enforcement agencies. So it comes 70% from the factory. So oftentimes this is hard. We have to explain this to window tint customers. If we put a 30% film on there, this glass isn't going to read 30%, so it'll actually look darker. And that's kind of the confusion too. A lot of different makes and models. There are some manufacturers that make clear glass, like it's totally clear. So you could put 30% on this make and model, and it's going to look a lot darker than another vehicle. Rest of this looks good. Door looks good. Not seeing anything weird. Orange peel is very minimal on this car, so every car is going to have orange peel. Some cars have a lot more of that orange peel texture than others. This is a very minimal orange peel. So this sits flush. This does not sit flush right here. And again, I'm gonna look at that fender on the other side and see what it looks like. And that one does sit flush, a lot better. Again, most people don't look at it. A car like this. Just drive it, enjoy it, you know? That little stuff wouldn't bother me. I drive a Tesla. You wanna talk about gaps and fitment issues? Whew. In my head, this is very minor. To somebody else, this would be not minor. I mean, the major things to me is the paint chipping. That's the integrity of the vehicle. Shall we go on the inside? All right. Being that we're window tinting this car, we always look at the door panel here, make sure there's nothing that is damaged that we could get blamed for. And the first thing that I see is, you know, getting out of the car, there's some shoe scuffs already. A lot of different materials on the inside of this door. So we have a couple different plastics. We got leather, we got Alcantara, and then we have this metallic type of plastic here. And then we have different textures within the door panel. Looks good. I mean, I like all the complementary colors, you know, so we got the lights that are coming out of the door handles. Really, really cool. The blue stitching here, the leather, another door scuff right on the handle there. Everything looks really good. Everything feels really good. Everything is nice and tight, fits together well. Again, we got the Mustang Darkhorse text on the door sill here. The Recaro seats look beautiful. I love them. Leather. The insert here is Alcantara, and then perforated Alcantara on the center. Steering wheel too, we got the inlet, so we got the leather outside and then the inside Alcantara. A little bit of carbon fiber like. This is not carbon, it is a carbon fiber. The Mustang logo in that metallic plastic color. So lots of different surfaces, and this fake carbon, or it's probably plastic. It's probably fake carbon fiber-esque. You got the start button, which is in red here. Very nice, a couple buttons in there. And then we have a full screen. So do we have the keys? Nice rumble, 144 miles. Darkhorse logo comes up right away. You got the text that comes up here, the RPM gauge. Okay, we got our map, we got everything up here. So looks like you can control most of the controls, the air, and everything from here, from the navigation screen. So it's got a little bit of a split in it. So it's like two screens that are connected in one. Feels nice. Both of them are kind of pointed to the drivers, so you feel like you're important. Yeah, so you have the e-brake here, which is just a, press the brake pedal and then you press it down for off, and then you just pull it up for on. You can hear it working. Interesting. Okay, going into the dash. So again, hard plastic on top. You got your fake carbon fiber plastic on the bottom there that goes into the dash. You got a middle speaker, and it has a number, so R1139 Darkhorse. I'm not sure exactly how many they made, but this one looks like it's number 1139. Looking in the back, you do have two seats back there. Not gonna have any adults back there. If you got small kids, maybe, but kind of useless. Put your backpack there. Let's open that trunk up and finish this video out. I don't know if this is supposed to be like this, but we got a gap from the gasket here to the outside piece on the trunk. I'm not gonna mess with it. That's how it was. Got a sub back here too, nice. Another warning, this vehicle is trackable by law enforcement agencies. You're not stealing this thing, are you? Let's look under the hood. The heart of the beast. Look at that. V8, naturally aspirated 5.0 Darkhorse. Savage Geese has a video about the Darkhorse, which is really interesting. They sit down with a lot of the Mustang executives and project managers and kind of go throughout, you know, they talk about why this car exists. It's kind of a cool video. Well, I hope they don't hate me after picking this apart, but it's a big engine. This is gonna be a relic too. It's all gonna be electric. 15 years, man. It's just gonna go up in value, you know? Cars like this. Still gonna have a bunch of people that just want power, gas, muscle. All right, my friends, that's my video. This is the Mustang Darkhorse. We're gonna window tint it. Thanks for watching. If you have a Darkhorse, let me know if you got any similar issues like that of the paint in the wheel wells there. That's the biggest issue that I saw. Is yours looking the same? See you later.